You now have an opportunity to express your love for precious metals and the corrupt financial system with the clothes on your back. AG47apparel.com, clothing for silver stackers. All different types of clothes and colorways on here. The Slightly Skeptical, which is the new release, my personal favorite. On the back, it even says cautiously curious. We have the Game Over tee, a dollar crash symbol that says game over. We have the greedy line with the dollar and a crash symbol down it, all different types of colorways. We even have wall tapestries, hoodies, anything you could imagine over here on AG47apparel.com. Go get you something today. Hey, what's up, Silver Stackers? Thanks so much for being here. This is Silver Slayer. We're going to be talking about some pretty heavy stuff today, folks. Crisis management, why precious metals is the only alternative since there is no solution to the corrupt, collapsing financial system, the inevitable demise of the dollar. A lot of people don't know this, but precious metals is a way to preserve your wealth. A lot of people are just clueless, just blindly throwing their money in their bank account, burning away. And my job as a silver stacking channel is to get the word out to precious metals to those people. So I always say, try to share these videos, like them, so it does reach more potential stackers on YouTube, saving that person's life. I mean, if you want to be, if you want to get realistic, you are. When someone enters the world of precious metals, you have saved them. So, anyways, before we jump into this heavy topic, this important topic, I am doing a silver giveaway. I'll be announcing the winner early next week, so only a few days left to enter. If you miss this giveaway, you will regret it once you see what the prize pool is. I'll even be throwing in one of those shirts from AG47apparel.com to the winner, and may the luckiest stacker win. Crisis management. The link to this article will be in the description. Crisis management is the application of strategies designed to help an organization deal with a sudden and significant negative event. There's definitely a sudden and significant negative event happening around the world. Not only is there the global situation, the war, but it's much deeper. And even without those two things, I would still be sitting here telling you that you need precious metals. I mean, I've been making silver stacking videos since 2015 on this channel. That was way before any of this, and it was still just as important and urgent. This just sped up the process, right? Regardless, everything was going to go, downhill, but this just made everything a little more urgent and just really got us to get our stuff together, to put it in simple terms. So a crisis can occur as a result of an unpredictable event or an unforeseeable consequence of some event that had been considered a potential risk. Preparing, right? Prepping. A lot of us, and let me know if this is how you got into silver, is from prepping. There's a lot of prepping channels out there, and they recommend silver. A lot of these channels, they're not even truly like silver stackers, but they understand that silver is the best way. And why not gold, Silver Slayer? Because gold is way too expensive. You can't barter and trade with gold. You can barely even barter and trade with an ounce of silver. Let's say you want to trade with someone something that's less than an ounce. Are you going to take a chainsaw to that coin? No. That's why you have junk silver, constitutional silver. It's fractional. Instead of taking a chainsaw to that coin, you can hand them a walking Liberty $50 or a Mercury dime. Silver has so many purposes, whether it's prepping. Maybe you don't believe all that stuff is going to go down, but you still want to preserve your wealth since you know the purchasing power of the dollar is collapsing. Maybe you just want to diversify your portfolio. Maybe you just like coins. Regardless why you came into the world of precious metals, that's irrelevant, right? Because the point is that you have the physical metal in your hand. So, a crisis can occur as a result of an unpredictable event or an unforeseeable consequence of some event that had been considered a potential risk. And that's why we're prepping, we're preparing. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, can barely even pay their for, food that night. But what's going to happen if they have to be, put in a situation that they can't go out to the grocery store for several weeks or something? They're screwed, right? And the same thing can apply for silver. What happens if the dollar collapses or the financial system is no longer existent, or banks are shut down? What are you going to do? Precious metals is the only alternative. There is no solution to our problem. We're $30 trillion in debt. There's only an alternative, right? There's no solution to this. In either case, crisis almost invariably requires that decisions are to be made quickly to limit damage to the organization. Now, this is coming from a very, very technical definition. So we're not going to get too much into that, the business aspect of it or the organization, but regardless, it's all saying the same thing. The nature of the potential damage varies based on the nature of the crisis. In most cases, though, a crisis can affect health or safety, the organization's finances, or we'll just use that word as a person, us, instead of an organization, the organization's reputation, or some combination of these. A devastating fire could be a crisis that puts the organization's finances in jeopardy. And by the way, that just for some reason this came in mind. Do you guys have house insurance? I've actually heard of stories of people getting robbed of their gold or silver in their house, but they had insurance to cover so much of it. Really interesting stuff. But anyways, a devastating fire could be a crisis that puts the person's finances in jeopardy. We'll use fire as X, Y, and Z that's happening nowadays. However, if the fire occurs during business hours, then the fire might also jeopardize health and safety. I mean, we're not going to go into it that deep, folks, but you get why this article is important. So here's the goal. Crisis management seeks to minimize the damage a crisis causes. However, this does not mean crisis management is the same thing as a crisis response. Instead, crisis management is a comprehensive process that is put into practice before the crisis even happens. And that's why we're stacking. We are preparing for the inevitable demise of the dollar, given the information. Go to usdebtclock.org, right? Go to usdebtclock.org. $30 trillion in debt. We know, given the information, that the government is broke. We're trying to get ourselves out of debt by replacing it with more debt that's trying to pay off a credit card with another credit card. It's going to catch up. The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power. And we know that the only true thing of value is precious metals, physical, it's intrinsical, because the price tag is irrelevant. It's the 1 ounce of silver inside of the coin that's valuable. And since we know that, since we know what's going to happen, we are putting our money basically into a time capsule. So when it does happen, right, just like this says, we're preparing. When it does happen, we are saved from what everyone else is, unfortunately going to have to face and suffer from. We aren't busting out our tinfoil hats. We aren't people that are just, kind of exaggerating the doomsday apocalypse. You know, this is real life. It really saddens me when people think that we're just, kind of loony and that banks aren't really in this situation. The global situation really exposed how broke the United States really is. And sadly enough, the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. Every country across the globe relies on the dollar strength, but you could see the dollar's $30 trillion in debt. Now, how do we determine a country's wealth? If we're $30 trillion in debt, how come the United States is the richest country in the world? It's because we own the most gold. We determine a country's wealth on how much gold they have, not how much dollars they print up. Here's a chart showing gold holdings by country in ounces. The United States has 286 million ounces of gold. Here's 54 million ounces that was produced in 2020, or the world production, and that's a 28% increase since 2000. There is a total of 1,814,000,000 ounces of gold in preserves. There's a total of 17,210,000,000 ounces of silver. And it shows by country, the United States owns the most gold. Germany is a somewhat close second. Now, when we look at this, and honestly, a lot of people say this, wait, Silver Slayer, so you're saying we determine a country's wealth on how much gold they have, not how much money they have. So you're telling me that the guy that has X amount of dollars in his bank account isn't as wealthy as I am because I'm the one that has gold and silver? And if you want to be technical, then yes, that's how we determine a country's wealth. So if we apply that same principle to a person basis, then yeah, precious metals is really what's valuable, not how much dollars you have. Because if you put, you know, let's say $20,000 into gold and silver and another 20,000 in your bank account, within 20 years, that $20,000 in your bank will have, the purchasing power would be like what, $6,000 today, whereas that $20,000 in precious metals will have held its value. If you want a good way to explain this, or to break it down for you to understand easier, a walking Liberty half dollar back in the day could get you a gallon of gas, and that same exact coin can get you a gallon of gas today. Back in the day, it was the 50 cents face value. 50 cents could get you a gallon of gas back in the day, right? And there's 50 cents of silver inside of a walking Liberty. So nowadays, that same coin, let's say I went into a time warp and ended up at the same gas station, and all I had was that same coin in my pocket, I could still get a gallon of gas. I could take that coin out of my pocket, walk to the local coin shop, sell it for $10, and get myself a gallon of gas. See, nowadays 50 cents can't get you a gallon of gas. It wasn't the face value nowadays, but the silver that's inside of that coin is still there, still worth something, still valuable. That's the timeless aspect of silver. And that's why we put our money into silver. Because the face value, the purchasing power lessens, but the amount of silver inside of it stays the same and holds its value. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. Go enter my giveaway. You don't want to miss it. Also, if you want a chance or an opportunity to express your love for precious metals by the clothes on your back, go to ag47apparel.com. All different types of stuff. We even have a hoodie that says the dollar is worthless, so buy silver. On the back, it says 3/9's fine. I mean, lots of clever ideas, things that really get people thinking. I just think it's really cool. I really am proud of this, and I rock a lot of these clothes myself, personally. So yeah, anyways, thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.